Hi everyone, welcome to the Hire Rockstar Talent podcast. So I got a good friend of mine on today. His name's Psarris. He owns a company called Gut Bread, like you know the gut milk commercials. This is the Gut Bread. I'll let Artie tell you a little bit about what he does and a little bit about his history with the restaurant world and then working in supermarket environments. And Artie, tell us a little bit about yourself.
How you doing, Al?
How you doing, man? Can you tell everybody a little bit about you and Gut Bread?
Part of the Bimbo family. It's the world's largest bread company. We're in about 36 countries right now. I own territorial route down here in Wilmington, North Carolina, and deliver to the marketplace. Sales have been pretty good. We're doing just shy of 900,000 a year in sales.
On bread. Puts bread in one part of an aisle in a supermarket and does that kind of money. Is that crazy?
It's insane, but the fact that we try to carry all bases. Like we try to hit the breakfast market, the lunch market, the rolls. We own Entenmann's, so the pastry market. So we try to be in as many aspects of that bakery business as it is. Our competition is Flowers, which is I think a country kitchen up north, same company, and Pepperidge Farm. Not real strong competition, so we kind of have a niche in the marketplace.
Here's what's interesting, though, that Artie and I have been friends forever and a couple days, and we have conversations all the time. So I wrote an article about kids and millennials, and the article is actually called Millennials Are Much Different Than Their Parents, 8 Things They Want to Do and What They Don't Want to Do. Me and Artie were having this talk about it, and it just kind of spurred off this whole conversation about how people suck, right? Kids suck sometimes. And we both have kids that are in school. All of our kids are obviously millennials. And it just really kind of spawned off this kind of fun, interesting conversation that we wanted to share with you. So we jumped on here and wanted to share it with everybody. Artie, when we were talking, we started talking about your daughter. Your daughter's going to school for nursing, and she wanted to change her major. So can you talk a little bit about that? She had all these dreams and all these things that she was going to school for this specific purpose. And then all of a sudden, like, the wind blew and she's like, nah, I don't want to do that anymore.
I think that's kind of the direction the youth is going today, right? I use it as an analogy of a sailboat without a rudder, you know? Or if you're just on the ocean with just a sailboat and no sails, the wind's going to take you wherever you want to go, right? To today's youth is the sailboat without the rudder. Takes you wherever you want to go. In terms of my daughter, you know, nursing is a very hard program. Everybody has these aspirations and dreams, and they get into it and they find out, that it's not really for me, or it's too much work, or other things get in the way. So, people pivot. But the more important thing today is they're not, they're not engaged with their parents. They're not engaged with the public. I think computers and TikTok and social media and socializing on the phone, video games, all that has taken the place of a parent. Your proverbial sitting down at the dinner table just doesn't exist anymore.
You had said something interesting when we were talking. You said, it's like your kids want a dog, right? My kids bug me all the time. They're like, Dad, can we get a dog? And I've been in this trap so many times where they want to get a dog. The dog's a great idea. And then the minute the dog has to go out for a walk or something has to be cleaned up or it starts to get hard, they don't want the dog anymore, right? And then we as parents, we own it now. How many times have we been in this trap over and over and over again where this great idea and then everybody gets bored and then we own it, we have to clean up the mess?
That's so true. When the real work starts, it seems like they fold like a tent. It all sounds good on paper until you actually do it, right? At the end of the day, I think we do it to ourselves. We get frustrated. Oh, we're just going to do it ourselves. You right? Give these kids tasks, take out the trash, shovel the snow, do this. And then they don't do it. And you say, the hell with it, I'm just going to do it myself. And that's what happens. So the more you do that, they get used to it. In a nutshell, you really can't blame them totally because force factor isn't there like it was for us when we were kids. The fear of God was given into us by our parents. That seems not to exist anymore.
Do you think this obsession with smartphones and tablets and all this stuff is driving some of this? I know right now, if I took my tablet away from my daughter, Emma, it would be like the sky fell in. I don't even think she'd know what to do. She wouldn't even know how to walk across the room without this thing and connected to her.
Oh, it's incredible. I don't know what's going to happen in the future. You know, with all this reliability on smartphones and technology, the way a free thinker has gone past the wayside. Is that ability to create and, you know, be entrepreneurs, is that becoming extinct? That could be a possibility, you know, because of the reliance on this technology. I could sit here and say the future doesn't look too good, you know, but I'm also, those people still will continue to exist.
There's such an obsession today with kids and social media and TikTok and Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and YouTube. I actually said to my daughter one time, I was like, I think YouTube's going to run out of videos for you to watch at some point. I read this article, and this company followed around like 5,000 kids and really tracked how many times they pick up their cell phone and that dopamine hit that they get when they're looking at their phones and they're looking at their notifications. And they were tracking these 5,000 kids, and some of these kids were on their phone 7 hours a day. I mean, there's 24 hours in a day. If you're sleeping 7, you know, or 8 of them, in 7 hours of the rest of the day that's left, you're on your phone or interacting on your phone. There is a massive amount of time being consumed here by our kids. This is nuts, by our employees.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Now you tack in video games and, well, how does anything get done anymore? What the heck is going on?
We tend to do it ourselves too. You know, I become so reliable on my own smartphone. I do everything on it. I create documents. I send out emails. I take pictures. You know, I communicate with the upper echelon of parent company with it. It's almost impossible to put it down these days. You know, you get notifications. You communicate with your loved ones, your family, friends all over the world. It is a incredible piece of technology, but it's also taken over our base, you know, in essence, who we really are. In some words, our creativity side. And that's true. The first to admit that it's done that to me as well. So I don't know what the solution is. It's like a Pandoras box. You open it and you can never put it back. You know, we all long for those Leave It to Beaver back in the 50s where things seem so simple. It's never going to go back to that. So,
you know what I see too is I've seen this transformation in my kids. And I don't know if you've seen this with your kids, but this transformation. So as these kids are on all these different social media channels and these TikTok things, and they're interacting with all these influencers, right? These people that are being paid to play freaking video games all day long, and they're giving kids advice on what to buy. Because now kids do research way more than we do. Like, I'll ask my son something, I'll be like, hey, you know, I saw these cool pair of sneakers. He'll literally pull up his phone. He'll tell me all about where they were made. He knows where the freaking sneakers were made in Thailand in like 2 seconds. So he's fast. There's this transformation of the kids' personalities, and we can have some fun with this. Like all the different words and the lingo. Like I know when we were kids, we used to say different things, but there's like a whole new language with the kids today. Like I know my daughter, like I like to use the words and like mess them up on purpose. Like I'll use the word in the wrong phrase and it'll irritate the shit out of them. Like lit or the word fire. Your kids say any of these weird words to you all the time that irritate you?
My son doesn't call me dad anymore. He just says, hey, bro. You know, and hey, bro this or bro that. You know, that's a terminology that they use now. It spans different age groups. So he's 15 and that's his mythology. To the older children, you know, they won't call you bro, they'll call you something different. But it's funny how as the ages go along, the mythology changes, right? I know, Alan, you have a lot of children and their ages span quite a. So you take the oldest one, you take the youngest one, they're not going to think the same. You know, my oldest is 30, my youngest is 15, so that's 15 years apart. They both will address me differently and they both will think differently. It's amazing how they've all progressed, given their surroundings, their environment of that particular time that they grew up in. You know, my daughter's into TikTok. TikTok is fun, but it's also could be annoying too as well. So take an 18-year-old, 19-year-old girl, you know, they take million selfies every day and they post it on TikTok or wherever. For me, I think that's a waste of time, but that seems to be their entertainment. I'll tell you what, I would hate to be a playground manufacturer today. See, I don't think people are buying too many playground swing sets and stuff like that. And people don't go outside anymore.
What he's talking about with my kids, I have 8 kids. I have 7 at home with my wife, and our kids range from 30 all the way down to 9. Man, we've seen every bit of all of this stuff that's going on. Like, it's crazy. You know what else gets me? The smoking weed. The smoking weed is huge. It's so mainstream now. It's even hard for me to accept. You know, my friends do it. They're always eating edibles. And, you know, the kids are getting access to all this stuff. Have you noticed any of this with your kids? I noticed it with all my kids, and we're constantly talking about it.
I do too. It's not taboo anymore. When we were young, it's like, oh, you can't do that, it's taboo. It's widely accepted, and it's pushed actually by our own government. States are making money off of it. It's not that when we were younger, and there are some beneficial properties to it as well. I don't know about you, Alan, but it seems like kids today are full of anxiety, uncertainty, and I think these edibles and overcome some of that. I'm not a scientist or a doctor or anything like that, but enough and knowledgeable enough about it that I think that there's some truth to that.
Yeah, I mean, my God, we used to at least hide things that we did when we were kids, right? They're doing it right out in the open. Like, I don't think I've walked through the supermarket parking lot without smelling. It's like unbelievable. And you know what else gets me? What else gets me, and all my employees, like every single one of them, is the energy drinks, right? Now it's become a massive income stream in our own restaurant, right? We do all these Red Bull drinks and all this stuff, but the energy drink consumption with millennials, it's insane. You know, you wonder why Red Bull is like sponsoring things going to the moon and stuff. Well, I can see why. It's crazy.
You buy them everywhere. I mean, and they're also infused, right? If I'm not wrong, they're infused with other drinks, right? Aroma Joe's or places like that, they have them all over here. There's everything under the sun. You throw out a name and it's an energy drink. So I personally don't drink it. I can't tell you much about it. Society is hooked on energy drinks and smartphones and technology, right? And that's what they live on.
This irritates me, right? I was talking to my son last night and I asked him a simple math question and he had to go get a calculator. And I'm like, where are you going? He goes, I need the calculator. It's like almost like now these kids use calculators in school and they can't do simple freaking math. And now this is accepted. They can bring the calculator to school. I remember when I was in school, if you pulled the calculator out, you were like worthless. You couldn't do that, right? Now today it's like it's accepted, and now everybody's relying on this. They can't even do 4 + 4 without grabbing the calculator. Do you see this with your kids?
If you pull a calculator out when we were kids, they would think you're cheating. One of the things that I noticed in school is that because kids are so obsessed with their phones, you got turning your phone into the jail phone section. There's a little slot and you have to put your phone in there. It's got your name on it. You can't use it while you're in class. So a lot of the classrooms and teachers are going that way. People texting you all day long. You're supposed to be learning, not on your phone. And I'm not sure how enforceable it is, but I think that's a good idea. You can put your phone in that jail phone cell till class is done, and then you can retrieve it as you're going out.
You have how many kids in college? 2? Or graduated from college?
I've had 2 graduated. I got 1 currently.
All right, so I got 3 college age as well. So have you noticed, though, that the older ones, how opinionated they are and how they know everything about politics?
I have one that's very knowledgeable about politics. I have one that doesn't really care. One's engaged and one's not engaged. It's funny though. The abortion issue, right? When Roe came down, all it did was throw it back to the states, correct?
Mm-hmm. Right.
That's all. The states can make a decision. Per state, like it should be. States' rights. I'll take my oldest daughter. All she heard that it got overturned. She's, oh my God, that's terrible. Well, without really reading the facts, nothing's really changed because it got thrown in the states, and the states are going to mandate it anyways. Some harsher, some not so harsh. Depending on each state. My point is that is a snapshot of society today. Is they hear something and all hell breaks loose without actually reading and understanding the facts.
Oh my God, you're killing baby seals.
What's that?
It's like, oh my God, you're killing baby seals. It's like, where did that even come from?
It's amazing.
So now, right, because of this, and then if you try to push back at all on your own kids, like they can't take any criticism, right? Like they can't take criticism for shit. Have you seen this too?
Right, it's true.
Unbelievable. Well, everybody, so this was a conversation you heard with me and Artie. We were talking about how our kids suck sometimes, and please read the article. I just posted this article up about millennials, and I think you'll find it interesting about things that they don't want and things that they do want. You'll see things like kids don't want, why they're not even looking at buying houses today, or they're putting off marriage. Very interesting. Goldman Sachs put out this amazing article with all these graphs and charts, and it's pretty long. So what I did is I tried to summarize it and put it into this one article and just took the highlights of it. But this is what sparked the conversation with me and Artie.
You got millions of kids across the country living in their basements, their parents' basements, right?
But they're on social media by the Lamborghini.
Put off that responsibility and life's choices for a little bit longer.
I'll tell you right now, if I could go back, I would be eating all my parents' food. I'd be making phone calls to Hawaii on their phone. I'd be doing it all. Now that we're out and we've got kids, and our kids are mooching off of us the way that they are until they're 40 now, I would have done it totally different had I known that the world was going this way.
I think we all would have. But I'll tell you what, when they have their own homes and they're paying their own bills and they're understanding life, society, and life choices, that's when they're going to start thinking a little bit more like us.
You're right about that. So I had 2 girls at the store, and one girl, she's a single mom, and the other girl, lives in her mom's house, right? And the girl who lives in her mom's house was frustrated because the other girl, why is she late? Why is she this? And I said, well, it's interesting. When you have a kid and you have to understand what she goes through just to get to work. You get up at 5 minutes to 7, go like this with your hair, and then you're on time for work because you live right down the street. This girl has to get the little kid up, dress, feed, pack. She's getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning to get to work by 7 because she has to drop the baby off to the babysitter. You have no idea what someone with responsibilities has to go through today. And this is the disconnection of what's missing, right? Is where a lot of these kids, they're shooting first and they're aiming second. But you're right. The minute they got to go through it, it's going to change everything. You want to speed that process up, but you don't want to speed it up at the same time because it's your daughter, right? So
it makes you grow up fast, doesn't it?
That's for sure. That's for sure. So Artie, thank you so much. So everybody listening, I want you to do 3 things as you click off of this podcast today. I want you to hit like on this video. I want you to hit subscribe, hit that notification bell so you can see every time we bring someone like Artie on to have a conversation and we can learn from all this stuff that we're going through. All right, everybody. Ciao for now.